Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, as you can already see in the title, I wanted to take the time and share with you guys my testimony, my depression testimony, because I do have quite a few testimonies to share with you guys, but I wanted to really start with this one. Last year in December, I did my first She-Bold event, and I did share my testimony with a few women. And I just think that now is the time to open up to more people. And because you can never know who you can help out there and who needs to hear this and who is going through something similar, something worse, or whatever it is. And sometimes you just have someone has to say something, someone shares a story with you, and you change their life forever. You know what I mean? So I just want to put my story out there to be able to help whoever I can help. So I have a few notes here because I just wanted to make sure that I don't forget anything. Okay, so how did my depression started? So we have to go back all the way to November 2018. And just to get this straight, I did not have a trigger. I know a lot of people who go through depression, or any kind of like personal issues, whatever. They have a trigger. Either it's a breakup, either it's someone close to them dying, or whatever it is. But for me, it was no trigger. And why is that? Is because it was actually a result of accumulation over a lot of years. So how it started, I remember in November, I was feeling quite overwhelmed. I was tired, I was stressed, and that's because I had a full-time job and I had a business on the side. And also, I have to say this at first, I'm an extreme introvert. Okay, so those who don't know what an introvert is overall, if I can put this in short words, it kind of drains us to be around people all the time. So we always need that time for ourselves to recharge, because if we don't recharge, we just crash. You know what I mean? And I'm raised in a big family. So we're like seven in the house. Okay. So for me to have alone time, for me to have time to recharge, it doesn't happen at work. It doesn't happen while I'm working on the business. It doesn't happen in the house. I literally have to take time every single year, at least 3 times a year, to just go on a trip on my own and just recharge on my own. And there's nothing wrong with being an introvert, okay? I just want to put this out there. I thought there was something wrong with me, but God created us all a certain kind of way. There's the extroverts and the introverts. This is how we are. We just have to understand it and deal with it the right kind of way, okay? And also, you don't have to be shy to be an introvert. It's not because you're shy that you're an introvert, okay? I used to be so shy, but now today I'm not shy. Like, I could be shy with some people, but I don't consider myself a shy person. So that doesn't make me less of an introvert, okay? I just want to put this out there. If you're an introvert, it's really like, you see, when you're constantly around people, you just feel like it drains your energy. As for extroverts, for them, they, not that they need to be surrounded by people, but being around people, talking to people all the time and all that, it boosted their energy. You know, they can come back from an event and be like, oh my God, you know, so happy and all of that. Me, if I spend the day surrounded by people, I come back home and I'm just like, oh my God, I need silence in my ears. Okay. So that's kind of a little explanation of the difference between introvert and extrovert. I'm going to put a description up there, just so you guys can read more about it if you want to. So, yeah, in November 2018, it was just overwhelming and I needed a break. So I took a small trip, like I think it was like 2-3 days, and I went out of town on my own and I did my recharging over there. Then when I came back and went back to work, everything was okay. And also, just so you know, during that time, I was in a relationship. But for me, it was like, you know, it didn't have to do with the relationship at all. For me, it was just like, I needed some me time. And I did take a step back from that relationship. I didn't break it up, but I did take a step back. And also, I took a step back from quite a few friends. You know, I started talking less. Um, Not really on purpose, if I can say it like that. I just needed, I don't know, I just wanted to be alone during that time. And when I came back to work, I was okay. But then it was, I think it was the last Monday of November, if I remember correctly. I just know we were still in November. I woke up that Monday and everything just crashed from there. Um, I just felt like everything was dark and I had nothing at all to complain about in my life. I had a job, I had a business, I had a family who loved me. So it was like, it didn't make sense to me when I woke up that morning and I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like getting out of bed. I didn't feel like eating. I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I was just like, you know, I just want to be alone and that's it. And I thought it was going to be one day, okay? Because I do have those days that I just want to be alone. But it lasted like, I think it lasted I think it was 3 days. 3 days and I missed work for that. And it was so unusual because it was so unusual to the point that my supervisor reached out to me and he was like, Rebecca, like, you know, we're kind of worried about you because this is not like you. You know, if you need anyone to talk to, here's the number. It was like this program that we had. I think a lot of companies have that program that their employees can go to and speak to someone. For me, it was over the phone. So when he gave me that information, I did reach out to someone because I just felt like, you know, trying it out and just speaking to someone. So when I called the lady, I remember she asked me a few questions like, you know, how's your sleep pattern? How's your appetite? How do you feel during the day mentally, physically, and all of that? And anyways, there was quite a few questions. And at the end, she told me, with the information you're giving me, I see it as a pre-depression. So what I would suggest you to do is actually go to therapy regularly. So meaning go see a psychologist regularly to not let it get worse. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to take that step. So I reached out to a clinic that she had referred. Well, she referred me to 3 clinics and I had to choose within those ones. So I did choose one and I took an appointment, but there was no availabilities for, I think, 2 weeks or so. And then that was that. And then I think the following day, I felt kind of better that I could go back to work. So I went to work. I was not happy though, okay? You know, I remember I was going to work and people were like, Rebecca, like, are you okay? And I was holding back tears. I even know, actually, I even cried in front of people at work, and that's not me. That is not me. I don't like crying in front of people, especially not at work, or that's just not me. So I was like, what I kept answering is like, I'm not okay right now, but I will be okay. And that was my favorite answer during that time, is always saying, I'm not okay, but I will be okay. You know, I was always referring to I will be okay, but you know, I could never say to someone, oh, I'm totally fine. I wasn't able to fake it anymore because it was like so obvious, you know. And the thing about me is that I'm the, how can I say that? I'm like the smiley one of the department, you know, the smiley one in my friend circle, like always the one helping other people, always the one hearing other people's issues, helping them, you know, trying to boost up their mood and all of that. So for me, to look that vulnerable was just, it was weird for a lot of people, for my own family, for my friends, for people at work. They never saw me like that before. So it was just like, what is happening? And, you know, and it's understandable. It's understandable when you never see someone going through something and then poof, it happens out of nowhere. So anyways, but that was that. And I remember, I think I spent it was a week at work after that event, until a Friday. I think it was the following Friday. I had a call from the hospital. So why did I have a call from the hospital? Is because I was on the waiting list for a breast reduction surgery. I was dealing with a lot of back pain, and for me, I was like, one of the trigger of that back pain was the weight that I was carrying. So I was on a waiting list for 4 months for that breast reduction. And on that Friday, the hospital called me and told me, yes, we have an available spot on the Monday, which means like 3 days from now. Would you like to take it? And my first question to them was like, okay, if I don't take it, what's going to happen? And they're like, well, you would go back on the list. And I was like, you know what? Might as well get it over with. I was supposed to be off of work for 2 weeks after the surgery. And I don't want to go back and waiting more than I was already waiting for, you know? So I agreed, and I took the spot that was available on that following Monday. So I had two days to prepare myself mentally. Yes, I was anxious. Yes, I was stressed. I remember even my mom, she was not here. She was in 80. You know, I had my siblings here and my dad was here, but it's just, you know, it's just not the same thing when you go through surgery like that, like, and your mom is not there. So it was kind of a stressful weekend, but I went through with it. The surgery was fine. I had a really good surgeon, so I'm really grateful that I went with him. But the thing that I didn't know is that going through surgery is a big shock to the body, not only physically, but mentally. And the fact that I didn't act right away upon my, you know, those 3 days that I went through, those 3 dark days that I went through. Yes, I did call for a psychologist appointment and all that, but on that Friday, I didn't get the appointment yet. So for when I went through surgery, I still did not see any psychologist. So after the surgery, I was pretty much drugged up all the time because of the pain meds. The anesthesia took quite a while to wear off on me. It was general anesthesia also. So this is like, you're put under pretty much. So it took quite a while for all of these things to get out of my system. 2 weeks after the surgery, that's when things started feeling weird again. And by that, what I mean is that my appetite, I started eating less. I started sleeping less. I was stressed. I was anxious. And I was still out of work though, because my post-surgery, which was supposed to be 2 weeks off, my surgeon put me on 1 month off. So at least, you know, I was home dealing with all of those feelings. But then I was like, okay, I need to reschedule my psychologist appointment because after the 2 weeks, you can, you know, start going out, not going out like, you know, have fun and all that, but like you can do more movements and all of that. So I was able to retake my psychologist appointment. So I went to see a psychologist, and that's when everything kind of came out. I remember going to that room, just sitting down, and he was like, so Rebecca, tell me what's happening. Why are you here? And I just started crying. And I think during that meeting, I cried more than I was speaking. But anyways, and I was just explaining to him how I was feeling, how I felt like everything is dark around me, how, you know, I don't feel happy, how I just don't want to deal with anyone. I don't want to speak to anyone. I don't have appetite. I have a hard time sleeping. I just constantly feel like my heart rate is like up the roof, you know? And anyways, I was talking to him more about everything that I was going through, and he was really a good listener. Like, honestly, I consider myself really blessed to have found a psychologist like that, because I know a lot of people, it takes quite a few try to end up finding a psychologist that fits your needs and fits your personality. But for me, it was like just right away, like the perfect match. And I'm actually going to do a video with him hopefully soon. But yeah. So anyways, during that meeting, I opened up, and what he was trying to understand was how come there was no trigger, you know? Because it doesn't happen often that you don't have a trigger for depression to happen. You know what I mean? But then I explained to him that, you know, I'm never like this. Like, I'm usually the one who listens to other people, that I'm the happy one and all of that. And then it was like, ah, there you go. And he's like, so you deal with people who tell you their issues, you know? And the thing about me is that it's not only friends, it's not only family, but even people who just met me, they just, I don't know, they feel comfortable to just share their issues with me. So he's like, Rebecca, over the last few years, you've been not trying to, but you've been living other people's life in a sense that whenever you listen to someone, whenever you try to help someone, you try to feel what they feel. So you've been feeling all of those mixed emotions because you're trying to understand people. You're trying to like have empathy for them, but to the way that you don't know how to protect your own feelings from it, you know? And he's like, he was explaining to me how for psychologists, they are trained to do that. They are trained to listen to people's issues, no matter how bad it can be, and not feel a certain way, but still be able to help those people. But us, I mean, people who like try to help people out and just regularly, every day, friends, family, whatever, we are not trained for that. Yes, we have the gift of being able to help other people, but we need to know that we need to protect ourselves while doing so. And I didn't know how to do that. So I was not doing it for a lot of years. Okay. So after that meeting, I remember he told me, you know, what we're going to do from now on, every time we're going to meet, we're going to dig more into your past. Because yes, now we see what kind of person you are, but I need to know how you were raised. I need to know how you used to be when you were a kid, how you used to be when you become older and all of that. I need to see the pattern in your life to understand what caused this to just burst out. You know what I mean? Because he's like, right now, you have no trigger, but it was an accumulation over the years, and your mind, your body is just on burnout mode right now. So we need to figure out everything that build up together to get to this point. So after that meeting, in a sense, it did feel better to speak out about it. But then, in another part, it was like, it was really hard for me to accept the fact that I was going through depression, because he did tell me, you know, you not only have anxiety, social anxiety issues right now, but you are going through depression. You know, the thing that I was trying to ignore hit me pretty quickly after the surgery. So when I left that meeting, I felt sad that I reached that point in my life, and I kind of like shut down even more from people. So I remember there was days that I was home. Well, I mean, I was always home. There was days that I was just staying in my room, staying in the dark, and just crying, because I felt so frustrated. I felt so mad because I was seeing, and I was, you know, hearing through my bedroom door, you know, my family would laugh together, you know, they would have fun and all of that, but I couldn't be around them. I didn't feel like I had the strength to be around them. And I kind of felt jealous, because I was like, God, why is this happening to me? Like, why can I not feel happy? Why am I not able to laugh right now? Why am I not able to act like everything is okay like I used to, you know? But it was just, my body was so tired of faking it for so many years, for so long. I had to act like I was okay, but now I couldn't act like it anymore. I was not okay, and it was just showing every single kind of way, you know? So I remember there's days, because on Sundays, the thing with my family is that we always meet up. So my other siblings, the kids and all that, they come over to house, and we have family supper. You know, it's just after church, we just meet up and we eat. and I couldn't participate in those family supper. There's even days that I just left the house and I just spent a few hours outside because I didn't want to be around that joy. And that's how messed up it is, because I felt so depressed. I felt so in the darkness that seeing someone happy, seeing someone having fun was making me suffocate. It was bringing me more negativity than positivity. So it was like the weirdest thing ever. I don't even know how to really explain it, but I literally felt like I was drowning hearing those people laugh, hearing, all the love and the happiness being shared. I was drowning from it. So, I used to go out. I used to just be alone outside of the house and come back in the house and just stay in my room. Um, and I have to say, did my family understand it at first? No, they didn't. My family, my parents are from Haiti. I'm Haitian. We're Christian. So already with those two terms, they don't believe in depression, okay? I know I'm not the only one out there that grew up in a family that do not believe in those issues, but we need to find a way to make them understand. Well, thankfully, now they do understand, but I think it's something that needs to be spoken more in our culture and churches and all of that, because the fact that they didn't believe in it, for them, it was like, she's just going through a phase. Even for my sibling, it was like, they thought I was just being over dramatic, but that I was fine and all of that. And it's over time when they saw how messed up I became, that they understood that this was actually depression. And don't get me wrong, okay? Depression is a mental issue, but it's also a spiritual issue. I understand the spiritual part because of the way I was raised in the church, and that there's things that regular people are not, how they say that, they're not open to because they haven't saw that part of their life, if I can say it like that. So I'm gonna make a different video to explain the spiritual part of my depression. But anyway, so it was really hard. The fact that I was home and I was dealing with people who didn't really understand what I was going through. And you really have to be careful with who you open up to, because even if it's someone who cares about you, even though it's someone who loves you, the fact that they didn't go through depression the way you did, or they never face depression at all, it can be harder for them to understand it. So, for them, it was the same thing. It was telling me, oh, you need to pray more, you need to fast, you need to do this, you need to do that. But for them, it was like, I don't even know why you're seeing a psychologist. You know what I mean? So it took a bit of a while for them to understand that I did need to see a psychologist, and that, it's like prayer was not enough. I remember that day, oh my God. I was in my room. I was just crying the whole day, and my dad was really worried. So he was like, oh, I called the pastor and he's gonna come over to pray for you. And the pastor is my cousin. So in that sense, it was like, okay, but I didn't want to see anyone. So for him to do that, it was like invading my privacy. And I just remember them knocking at my door, and then they started praying for me, and all I could do was cry and cry and cry, because I just felt suffocated even more. And they didn't understand that, don't get me wrong, prayer is good, prayer needs to be done. But for me, during that moment, it was just putting me through too much that I couldn't handle, okay? So to say that it did make me feel better after, no, it didn't. It just made me feel even worse. And I remember my pastor, my cousin, asking me, the question that everyone's asking me, like, why do you feel this way? What happened? And stuff like that. But all I could say was, I don't know. I don't know, because I had no trigger. And this is how I feel, but I don't know if it's just a phase. I don't know how long it's gonna last, because I mean, everyone goes through depression a different way. Some people it's years, some people it's months. And also just a little thing I need to put it in there is, no matter the level of depression you're going through, it matters. Okay, it matters, and it's important for you to speak to someone. Okay, maybe for you it's not seeing a therapist, but find that person that you can rely on, that you can express yourself to. And never feel that because someone else who went through depression and it's worse than you, or they felt like a different kind of way, that your depression doesn't matter. Okay, so I just want to make that really clear, because it's important for you to understand that you matter. No matter what and how you feel, it matters. Okay, after that prayer, did I feel better? No, I did not feel better. I felt worse. I kind of felt ashamed, because I felt like I was a disgrace to the family, because I was going through depression, and it was like it's viewed a bad way. As a Christian Haitian, you're not viewed well when you go through those kind of things, you know what I mean? And already the fact that my parents didn't understand it, I just felt like a failure, pretty much. So I did not feel better after that prayer. And I just remember the following days, it was just dark for me, and it was just, it was to a point that I had those thoughts that I was telling myself, like, does it really matter for me to still be alive? Like, is it worth it? Like, who's gonna care if I'm not alive? You know what I mean? And these are the kind of thoughts that were going through my mind. But then my faith kind of kept me hanging in a sense that, I was telling myself those things, but I was like, you know what? If I'm alive today, I need to be grateful. If I'm alive today, it's because God is not done with me. It's because I have a purpose. At this point, I don't see that purpose. At this point, I don't see how I'm gonna get out of it. I don't see when I'm gonna I don't see when I'm gonna get out of it, but I know I will get out of it. And I kept telling myself and repeating myself that thing over and over again is, right now, I am going through depression, but depression will not last forever. It will end. It will end somehow. So I could say that being a faith-based woman kind of helped me a lot. And it wasn't other people telling me that, it was me telling myself that. So from the moment that I accepted what I was going through, but spoke to myself, how can I say that? Spoke to myself in a positive way, to make me believe that there will be better days. It kind of like kept me from those suicidal thoughts. Okay, I did not try to kill myself. I did not, but I just kept asking myself, is it worth it that I'm still alive? Am I worth living? Do I matter to my family? Do my family even need me? You know what I mean? So it was really tough. It was really tough. And I also have to say, did I pray a lot during my depression? No, I did not. People prayed a lot for me. Yes, I was surrounded by people who prayed for me, even people from church that kept praying for me. But I myself could not pray. Okay, I just remember when I used to cry, I used to just call out Jesus' name, but I was not able to really pray. It was hard because it's just, you go through this phase and you just feel like you're in that dark circle, and there's no words coming out. You just feel like, God, I hope you feel what I feel. I hope you feel the pain that's inside of me. I hope you feel whatever is going through my mind. But you're not able, I was not able to pray. And that took quite a few months before I was able to like at least say a prayer correctly. And then as the meetings went on with the psychologist, we started digging more into my past. And then we figured out, well, not we figured out, but I realized that the way I grew up, okay, I was a kid that was really, really shy. Shy to the point that I had a hard time saying hi to people. Okay, it was so bad. I'm like so far away to how I used to be before. But he made me understand that why I became that way is because I used to be a big crier. A crier in a sense that even when, for example, my brothers or my dad or whatever was talking to me, just talking to me strictly, not even yelling at me, I would just cry. I would just start crying. And I remember my family being like, oh, like, you're being over dramatic, you cry too much and stuff like that. So I grew up building this wall, because I was taught to not look that much vulnerable. So for me, is I went to the extreme. I went to being completely vulnerable, to crying a lot, to just not crying at all and not opening to people. Because to me, it was like, I'm not allowed to cry. I'm not allowed to cry. I'm not allowed to share my feelings. I'm not allowed to look vulnerable. You know what I mean? So I grew up with that mentality. So I became shy. I became someone who was holding back everything inside of her. And I never understood the why, but by talking more to my psychologist about it, we understood it's because when you open up to someone and then they kind of reject you some kind of way, you build a wall. That's just a human reflect to do. So this is what I did. This is what I did after a few years of going through that, and I grew up with it. And until 2018, I was putting up with it, So I was that girl who refused to look vulnerable in front of anyone, okay? Because I didn't think my feelings mattered. I didn't think that I was allowed to cry. I was allowed to feel a certain kind of way. So I just kept smiling through the pain over and over again. It was just holding back a lot of rejection and a lot of pain inside. And don't get me wrong, I know my family loves me. I know they care for me and all that. It's just that sometimes you don't understand how much you can hurt someone by your words. Sometimes you think it's a joke. Sometimes you think, you're just, making fun of a situation and all of that. But behind all of this, you can really hurt that person, and it can scar that person for life mentally. So just really be careful on how you use your words, because words are very, very powerful. Okay. So anyways, my depression got to a point that I was still not back to work even after 3 months, because we were at this point, we were in March. Okay, so it all started in November 2018. Now we were in March 2019. So in March, my psychologist suggested that I go see my family doctor, because since I could not be back to work, my family doctor had to be the one giving me the paperwork and all of that to send to my job, to let them know that I was not ready to go back. And so when I saw my family doctor, he was kind of like, he was not mad, but he was like, Rebecca, like, why did you wait so long to see me? Like, yes, you were seeing a psychologist. Yes, that's good. But you're still in the dark right now. And I was supposed to be aware of all of that, And so from that moment, he's like, I know you don't feel comfortable. I know you never thought that you would reach that point, but I'm putting you on medication. So from March 2019, I was on antidepressant and also on, I forgot how you call those, but it's pills that can help you sleep. So from that moment, even though I didn't want to take them, I mean, I could have just went and buy the meds just so it can look on paper and not actually taking them. But I was so fed up of feeling that way. I was so fed up of being in the dark and not, seeing results. And when I see results, I mean, yes, I understood better my situation, and I knew what I was going through, but I was still not happy. I was still not laughing. I was still not seeing light. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? F that. I'm just going to take the meds. So I started taking the meds. And those meds, I just have to mention it because since I didn't have appetite and I didn't have sleep, what my doctor told me is that, yes, they will take, I think it's like 6 to 8 weeks before taking effect. But first thing that they will act on is my appetite. So during that time, from the beginning of my depression until March, I had lost 20 pounds, and that was not because of the surgery. I had lost 20 pounds because I was not eating. So, funny, not funny thing is that people were like, oh, you look good, all that and all that, but you never know what someone's going through behind all that. I look good because I was not eating. Not because I was training like I usually do. It's because I was not eating. So when I was put on those medication, things kind of like exploded in a sense that I gained 40 pounds within 3 months. As a woman, as a woman who loves training, it was so hard on me because I was gaining all that weight in a short period of time, and I was at a point that I reached a weight that I never was before. Even today, like the body that I'm in right now, I was never like that. And it's all because of everything that happened 2 years ago. Okay. So, I kind of felt even more depressed for me gaining that weight. And if you're Haitian, you kind of know, maybe even all the culture, you kind of know, but when you gain weight, it's like people just have to shove it in your face, saying, oh, you've gained weight, like what happened to you, like are you not training anymore, stuff like that. But I didn't feel like saying to people, yeah, well, it's because I'm taking medication for my mental health, but it's affecting my physical. So I was just like, yeah, I gain weight. I know, I'm aware. And that's something that I need to specify for women out there. Well, not for women out there, but yeah, for everyone out there. When you see someone who gained weight, don't just assume that they're neglecting their body, okay? It's very, very important that you just don't comment it, because we know we gain weight, okay? We know that we're not our usual shape. We looked at ourselves in the mirror, we know. But having that reminder every single time someone sees it is depressing, and it hurts. It really hurts. So for me, it was kind of bittersweet because I knew I had to take the meds for my mental, but physically the meds were not helping me at all. So I just had to stick to it. And that was something. And also during that time, because I was still not working, I mean, I had good insurance that was paying me through it, but they didn't make it easier. Okay, they didn't make it easier because you still have to keep you have to give them updates all the time, and also them paying you is like so complicated sometimes. They show it as if the insurance are there, they're gonna help you, they're gonna support you if you go through those kind of phase, but they were the cause of so much stress in my life, and I'm still fixing stuff that they kind of messed up in my life a few years back. So that did not help. But anyways, that's just a side thing. So anyway, so I was on meds from March until I think October. So October 2019. And as of I think September, I started reducing the dose because I just started feeling better. in a sense better is because I was less anxious. Like I could finally speak to someone and not feel like crying. Was I sleeping more? The meds did help, but it was like to a point that I was getting so used to it that I was not sleeping again. So, my sleep pattern was not fixed. My appetite, was a mess because of the meds. They open your appetite. So I was literally hungry every single hour. So my appetite was better. I felt better talking to people. I felt better going to church because that's something that I had stopped doing because I could not be around people. So I was not going to church. So I slowly started going to church again. So yeah, I started feeling better. So I reduced the dose of my medication because they tell you that the worst thing to do is to stop medication right away because it could actually make you worse. So I reduced the dose, and it came to a point that, this is something that's going to go to the like spiritual testimony. But it was in October. I remember I was just driving, okay? And then I just realized in that moment that I had not taken my meds for 4 days. And it was not a coincidence, okay? Because I was so strict on my meds. Like I was taking them every single day at the same hour. So during those 4 days, I did not even think about taking them. And when you just stop, because yes, I reduced the dose, but I just stopped them. You know what I mean? Because I was at 20 milligram and then I reduced to 10. But then I was supposed to reduce at 5 and then at 2.5 and then so on. But I just reduced to 10 and then stopped strict. And then I understood that it was really God telling me that, this is it. Like the meds, it's over. It's done. Now, okay, I just need to specify. It's not for everyone. It's going to be like this. For me, it was like that. For me, that's a big part of my testimony. I actually cried in that moment because I just felt like I was free from it. You know what I mean? Free from it without even having any bad effects. And I was scared because when I realized that I didn't take my meds for 4 days, I kind of panicked a bit because I was like, oh my God, am I about to get worse? Should I retake them and all of that? But I just felt at peace with myself. And I just felt like, you know what, Rebecca, like this is God telling you that it's time to put a break into this. It's time to stop it. And it's time for you to get back on your feet and for things to get better again. And from then, I restarted working on my life better. I restarted feeling better about my business, about all of that. I actually quitted my job in between those times. So it was that summer. I was in July, I think I quitted my job. And I just decided to go full-time in the business. That's another testimony. Yeah, I just restarted focusing on the business, restarted focusing on me, restarted focusing on God better. And I just, I could see the light better now because, I was so in the dark, but now I could see a part of the light while still being a bit in the dark. So I just kept moving forward from then. And don't get me wrong, until today, I still have days that I feel anxious, but I know better now how to control it. I know better now how to see it coming. You know what I mean? I know when I need a break. I know when I need to take space from people. So it was a learning process, honestly. Like, I'm not going to tell you, oh, my depression ended on that date, because it did not. It just started feeling better over time as of that October, so October 2019. And I have to say, like, when did I restarted feeling like myself? Because I didn't think I was going to restart feeling like myself again. I just thought I was going to be better, but never better than I used to be before the depression. So I started feeling really, really better and like myself again as of, hold on, we're 2020, we're November 2020. So I would say during spring of this year. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It would be spring of this year. That's when I really started feeling like myself again. And today is like, I just feel like a totally different person because I'm telling you, like me sitting down and talking to you guys right now is something I never thought I would have done, but I know I had to do it. And what made me realize how much I had to do it even more is that everything started going wrong from the moment I started taking the decision to film this. Even right now, I broke my tripod, my camera just overheated and it's just not working right now. And I bought that camera last week. Okay. So right now I'm filming with my phone with no tripod, like I'm just holding it with something behind it. But just so you know, when you feel like you're supposed to do something and just bad things are about to happen or bad things are happening, just know that you're meant to do this because it's just the enemy trying to block you from blessing other people. So, but not every situation is like that, okay? Just making this clear. But anyway, so since then I've been feeling way better. I've been able to understand people better, to help people better. And also I kind of opened the door to my family, also to my parents, because now they actually believe in depression in the sense that they know it's real. They know, yes, it's spiritual, but it's actually a real thing also. And what advice could I give you is that first, like I said, every single level of depression matters. Never think that because you just feel down for like a week or a few days that it doesn't matter. Okay, it matters, but make sure to choose wisely who you open up to. Okay, don't assume that because the person cares for you, loves for you, that they will be a good match in a sense that they will understand right away what you're going through, because it's not always like that. Okay, so choose wisely. For me, it was opening up to a therapist, and until today, like I would still do it again. Like right now there's like long distance restrictions and all of that, but I would definitely do it again even if I'm feeling fine. I just love the fact that you can open up to someone and just know that it's confidential, and you also have another perspective of the issues you're going through. Okay, so I think it's something that everyone should do, everyone should accept, and people need to understand that it's not because you're seeing psychologists that you're crazy. Okay, you're allowed to speak, you're allowed to talk to someone, you're allowed to share your feelings to someone. Share it through prayers with God. So sadly, here in Montreal, we do not, I'm not aware if there is a lot of Christian therapists. Hopefully over time it's going to come better, but just choose wisely who you open up to. Okay, that's my first advice to you guys. Second would be learn to accept how you feel. Okay, the worst thing to do is to hold it back inside and to not speak out. Okay, the worst thing to do is to lie to yourself and say that you're okay when you're not, because one day or another it's going to run back to you and it's going to hit you so hard that you will find it harder to get back up. Okay, so really, really, really accept how you feel and then work through it. Don't think that jumping over the issue is gonna make it disappear. Okay, you have to go through the pain to get out of it, to come out on the other side and say, I'm stronger because of that pain. I'm stronger because I went through that phase. I'm stronger because I learned from it and now I know better, not only for your own future but for other people. You will be able to bless other people through your pain. And it's kind of like painful to say that because it's like, oh, so I have to suffer to be able to help other people. No, you don't have to suffer, but we all have difficult path that we go through, not because we have someone to learn from it, we have something to learn from it, but also because what we are going through is gonna help out so many other people, and we don't even know until we go through it. Okay. Also, one of my favorite saying is fear ends when faith begins. And that is so true, because what kept me going was my faith. Even though I was not able to pray like I wish I did, I had people praying for me, and I still had faith that there was better days ahead. I just didn't know the when, but just knowing. So once you have faith, no matter what kind of faith it is, know that faith can save you from so much darkness. Okay. And always believe that there's better on the other side. Okay. The pain never lasts forever. It never lasts forever, as long as you believe it. Because if you keep believing that you will stay in that pain and that you will never get out of it, then you will never get out of it, because you are your own how can I say that, your mental listen to how you feel first. So if you constantly feel that you will remain in darkness, that there's no better days ahead for you, you will remain in that phase. But once you start saying it, even if you don't believe it, just speak it out loud and start telling yourself, you know, oh, I'm not okay right now, but I will be okay. I'm not okay right now, but I know there's better out there. You know, if you just start speaking it out loud, your mind is going to start believing it slowly and slowly. But if you keep speaking out loud, oh, I'm never going to be happy again, I'm never going to laugh again, I'm never going to this, I'm never going to that, most likely you will remain in that phase. Okay, so that's something that you really need to be careful with. My favorite advice: learn to take a break. Okay, we all need a break. We're all humans. Okay, we have our limits, but we need to take a break. We need to know when enough is enough, and never wait for things to get extreme. Okay, just schedule yourself breaks within the year, within the month, within the week. Just take breaks, because we're not machines. Okay, we cannot handle too many things and just expect to never take a break and for everything to be okay. No, that's not how it works. Okay, learn to take a break, learn to accept that it's okay to take a break and have time for yourself. Okay, it's okay. Like, it's okay to be selfish. Okay, you just have to know the limit though, because you cannot be full-time selfish. You need to be selfless and selfish sometimes, because sometimes the issue is saying yes all the time and not know how to say no. I'm at a point in my life that I just know when no is no, it's no. I no longer say yes when I don't feel like saying yes. I no longer say yes when it doesn't really benefit me. You know what I mean? Sometimes we say yes because we want to please the other person, but then we end up suffering more, and there's just no benefit in it. You know what I mean? So you just need to learn when to say yes and when to say no. Also, know your limit. Okay, in every single area of your life you need to know your limit, even if it's with family, with work, with business, with everything. You just need to know your limit. Okay. And also, one thing that I needed to restart doing is find a hobby, because the thing with me is that my business right now used to be my hobby. So it used to be my getaway thing, like the thing I used to do just to have fun and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I still love what I do, I still have fun doing it, but it's just not the same thing when you know it's attached to paying your bills pretty much, you know. So always find an extra thing that you know is like your getaway. Okay, it's like your thing that while you're doing it, you know you're not doing it for someone, you're just doing it to have a good time, you're just doing it for yourself. And for me, that was going back to training, because for so many years I was training, and not just for fun. I have my certificate as a private trainer. I even started training for competition. That's another story. So for me, it's always been my my main thing. I mean, people even name me as the muscle girl in high school, you know. So it was just, for me, it was the main thing, and I totally left it out during the depression. And now I'm back into it, and I'm so glad that I have that in my life, because I just need to have something on the side. So I think it's very important for you to just find a hobby, find something that you know you can do that is not linked to your business or not linked to your job, and that is just made for you. Okay, if you're, okay, don't get me wrong, if you're an extrovert and if you just need to be with someone, find an activity that you can do with someone, but just find something. So yes, I hope that I said everything that I needed to say in that testimony. You know that even if I took notes, maybe something is, maybe I forgot something, but I don't know. Right now, I think that I said everything that I needed to say, and I hope that I was able to help someone out there, even if it's 1 or 2 people. For me, that's all that matters, because 1 is enough. Because you helping that one person can make that person help 5 more people, and those 5 more people help more people. So for me, it's all about speaking out and not holding back anymore. I'm gonna look vulnerable, I don't mind. I got through it. I'm alive today. I'm happy today. I'm stronger today. And just know that you can be also, no matter what you're going through right now, no matter what you went through. If you don't understand what you're going through, I hope this could help. And if ever you want to reach out to me, ask questions, have some advice, I don't mind. You reach out to me. You have my contact info. And yeah, I hope this helped you guys a lot. Like I said, there's more testimonies coming. It is a blessing, honestly. It's a blessing to have testimonies to share with people and to help people with. But yeah, so you take care, and I will see you again soon.